every sign's strongest hours today, and the one stretch that suits routine work rather than fresh starts are coming in this reading. Welcome and a calm good morning to you. These readings follow the tropical western sky, and each one is written for your sun sign, the sign the sun was in when you were born. The moon is a waning crescent, moving through Cancer, which favors tending what already exists over launching something new. Our sky anchor is New York, so all times are New York time. There is a quiet pause when the moon makes no further contacts from 3:30 at night to 4:38 at night tomorrow, a good window to rest a decision rather than force it. The moon also meets a square with Saturn, exact at 3:30 at night, asking patience of anything still awake then. The sun is in Leo and enters Virgo in 12 days. Saturn, Neptune and Pluto are retrograde now, favoring review and revision. Readings today are from your sun sign. The link below finds yours in 10 seconds. Aries, your fire today has a quiet room to burn in, and that steadiness is the gift. Yesterday the moon opened in your house 4, home, family, and your inner ground. So you may have felt drawn inward, wanting familiar walls more than open road. The moon still moves through Cancer in that same 4th house of home and inner ground, and it is in its own sign there, strong and settled. So work goes best when you handle it from a calm base rather than a running start. Venus in Libra sits in your 7th house of partnership, which supports honest, generous conversation with the people closest to you. So say the warm thing you have been carrying. Aries, you are ruled by Mars, and courage reaches you before caution does. That is true of you, and today it simply needs pacing. The moon squares Saturn exactly at 3:30 at night, which can make rest feel thin around that hour. So keep the evening unhurried and let sleep come without argument. The day asks for grounded fire, and you have it. Somewhere today, offer your seat, your place in the line, or a slice of your time to someone who needs it more, asking nothing back. May something small go beautifully right for you today. Taurus, today rewards the quiet ground you have already prepared, so tend what is close to home rather than reaching outward. Yesterday's mood, with the moon moving through your 3rd house of courage, siblings and short trips, likely had you talking, moving and covering small distances more than usual. That same moon sits in Cancer, its own sign, still in the 3rd house, which favors plain conversation over grand strategy in work and money. Send the message you keep rewriting, or make the short trip you keep postponing. Venus, your ruler, is strong in her own sign of Libra, in your house of daily work and service. And that is worth trusting, because you build slowly and you build things that hold. In relationships, Taurus, warmth gathers around Leo territory in your 4th house, family, house and inner ground. So an ordinary evening at home carries more meaning than any outing today. For energy, keep the day's rhythm short and repeated. Small tasks, small walks, small rest. The arc closes where it began, near home, near the people you already have. If someone near you keeps stumbling over something you find easy, sit with them and show them slowly, expecting nothing in return. Carry this lightly and have a truly good day. Gemini, your words travel further than usual today, and that is the real asset in your hands. Yesterday, the moon was already moving through your house to the place of money, possessions, and what you value. So, questions of worth and resources have likely been close to your thinking. The Sun, Mercury, and Jupiter are gathered in Leo in your third house of speech, learning, and near connections, which means a message, a pitch, or an honest explanation from you carries unusual reach right now. Say the thing you have been drafting in your head. Mercury rules you, Gemini, and curiosity is genuinely your engine. Connection costs you no effort at all. And in conversations today, that ease is what people will respond to. Venus in Libra sits in your fifth house of joy and creativity, which supports warmth with someone whose company simply pleases you. The moon in Cancer is in its own sign, steady, so your energy holds better when you eat at proper hours rather than talking through them. The day settles where it began, on what you truly value. Look through what you own and pass something genuinely useful to a person who needs it, expecting nothing back. The day is yours to shape. Shape it kindly. Cancer. Today, your own mood becomes the weather everyone around you feels, and that is a power worth handling gently. Yesterday already had this homecoming quality with the moon opening in your first house of self, vitality, and how you come across. So you may have felt more yourself than you had in days. The moon, your ruler, is now in Cancer, in her own sign, and in that first house, your presence carries further than usual. At work, notice that Saturn sits retrograde and debilitated in your 10th house of career and public standing, and the moon squared it exactly at 3:30 at night. So a heaviness about your ambitions may still be lingering this morning. Let that ease by picking one small task and finishing it rather than judging the whole plan. In relationships, Cancer, your gift is real. You read a room before anyone in it says so. And today people will feel understood simply because you noticed. With energy, keep the day soft at the edges, eating and resting on time, since a first house moon shows every skipped meal in your face. The homecoming settles here. Say the encouraging word you have been meaning to say, unasked, expecting nothing back. Move through today at your own pace. It is the right one. Leo, today your presence does the work for you, and the quieter you stay, the further it carries. Yesterday already asked you to stand tall while the Sun and Jupiter move through Leo, your first house of self, so you may be arriving a little brighter and a little more spent at once. With the Sun, Mercury, and Jupiter all in that first house of self, your work and money matters are best served by clear speaking rather than long campaigning. Say the one true sentence in the meeting and let it sit. In relationships, the moon rests in Cancer, in your 12th house of rest. Retreat and letting go, so you may prefer fewer people and deeper attention today. Leo, and that is not withdrawal, it is care. You are ruled by the Sun, and warmth arrives ahead of you before you have spoken. Trust that instead of proving anything. For energy, that same 12th house favors an early, close to the day, and one unhurried hour with nothing scheduled. So the day that began asking you to stand tall ends by letting you simply be seen. Somewhere today, quietly finish a chore that was never yours, the unwashed cup, the unswept step, and say nothing about it. May the day meet you kindly and leave you a little lighter. Virgo, today favors the quiet gains that come through people who already trust you. Yesterday's moon in your 11th house of gains, friends and wider networks likely left you a little turned inward as the Sun and Jupiter moved through your 12th. Today, the moon is in Cancer, in its own sign, still lighting that 11th house. So, a message to a colleague or an old contact is a good window for work that quietly moves forward. Mars in your 10th house of career keeps your public work visible, so let one careful piece of it speak for you. In closeness, Venus sits in Libra, its own sign, in your second house of money and what you value, and that supports plain, warm speech about shared resources. Precision is instinct for you. Virgo, and quiet service is the shape your care takes. So say the useful thing kindly rather than perfectly. For energy, the Sun and Mercury in your 12th house of rest ask for an earlier evening and less noise. That inward day now turns outward through your circle. Thank someone whose work usually goes unnoticed and let the thanks be complete in itself. Your free full chart is waiting on the website whenever you want the deeper detail. Whatever today asks of you, you have met harder days than this. Libra, today your presence carries its own quiet authority and you barely have to raise your voice to be heard. Yesterday, the moon opened in your house of career and public standing, so you likely felt watched in a way that asks something steady of you. It stays there today, and the moon holds its own sign, Cancer, which supports careful, unhurried work rather than dramatic moves. Let one task be finished properly rather than five begun. Venus, your ruler, sits at home in your own sign in your first house, and that is the truth of you. Libra, you find the balance point in almost any room. In relationships, Saturn and Neptune both sit in your 7th house of partnership, which favors clear, plain speech over guessing what someone meant. Ask the simple question directly. For energy, keep the day gently paced. Steady food and an early wind down serve you better than pushing. That authority you felt this morning settles best when it costs someone else nothing. So if you know someone who is unwell, sit with them a while today and let them set the pace of the visit, asking nothing back. Let today be useful rather than perfect. Scorpio, your standing and your knowledge are the strongest cards you hold today. So let people see what you actually know. Yesterday, your mind moved through the sensitive waters of Cancer, and that inward, feeling-led quality likely made the day quieter than usual. The Sun, Mercury and Jupiter all sit in Leo in your 10th house of work, reputation and public standing, which favors speaking plainly about what you have built. Ruled by Mars, you go deep where others skim, and your resilience is easy to underestimate. Put that depth into one piece of visible work today rather than 10 scattered ones. Scorpio, with Venus in Libra in your 12th house of rest and quiet retreat, closeness comes best in private, unhurried moments rather than crowded ones. So choose one person and give them your undivided attention this evening. The moon travels through Cancer, its own sign, in your 9th house of belief, learning and long journeys, and this supports steady energy. Read something that widens you and let your body keep its ordinary rhythm. What began as quiet, turning inward, can end as clear. Grounded standing. Somewhere near you, someone is hungry. Share a meal with them and let that be the whole of it. Walk gently today and let the day come to you. Sagittarius, today favors letting your honest questions stay open a little longer than usual, and that patience is where the day pays you back. Yesterday's moon already had you sitting with shared resources and deeper change. So, a quieter, more inward mood is understandable. That moon now moves through Cancer in her own sign, still in your 8th house of pooled money and honest reckoning, which makes this a good window to look plainly at joint accounts, a shared bill, or a repayment you have been circling. Ask one clear question about it before the day closes. Mars and Uranus both sit in Gemini in your house of partnership, Sagittarius, so a close person may move faster than you expect. Meeting that with curiosity rather than correction keeps things warm. Meanwhile, the Sun in its own sign of Leo, with Mercury and Jupiter beside it in your 9th house of learning and travel, is the promise kept. Jupiter rules you. Optimism is your natural setting, and the honest search matters to you more than any tidy conclusion. Keep meals regular and rest unhurried. Somewhere today, set out water or a little food for the birds or a street animal, quietly, expecting nothing at all. May today bring you one moment worth remembering. Capricorn, today rewards the person who listens beneath the words rather than the one who answers fastest. Yesterday already leaned into partnership matters as the moon moved through your 7th house of close alliances. So, a certain pull toward another person's needs will feel familiar. In work and money, the Sun, Mercury, and Jupiter gather in your 8th house, the place of shared resources and things that transform quietly, which favors reviewing joint arrangements, contributions, and long-term commitments with your patient eye. Saturn, your own ruler, is retrograde and weakened in your 4th house of home and inner ground. So keep domestic decisions unhurried rather than forced. Capricorn, in relationships, the moon sits in its own sign of Cancer, in that 7th house, and it supports an honest, softer conversation with a partner or close ally today. For energy, Mars and Uranus in your 6th house of daily routines and effort suggest steady pacing serves you better than sudden pushes, and Venus in your 10th house of standing keeps your public work graceful. You play the long game by nature, not by discipline, and that arc closes today in one quiet way. Give someone your full, unhurried attention while they speak, expecting nothing back. Go easy on yourself today. The stars are patient, and you can be too. Aquarius, today the people around you show you your own thinking more clearly than any private reflection could. Yesterday already had you deep in the small machinery of daily work, health and routine, and that steady, slightly effortful rhythm carried its own quiet satisfaction. The moon is still moving through your 6th house, the one that governs those daily tasks and your body's upkeep, and it sits in Cancer in its own sign, which means your instincts about pacing are trustworthy right now. So handle work in short, honest blocks rather than one long push, and let one routine task get finished properly. Relationships are the real story. The Sun, Jupiter, and Mercury are gathered in your house of partnership and close counsel, which favors listening carefully and letting someone else's view finish before yours begins. Aquarius, you are ruled by Saturn and you think from an angle nobody else tried. So the angle you offer today lands best when it comes second, not first. For energy, keep food and rest simple and unhurried. The mirror others hold up today is a kind one. If someone near you is carrying something heavy, practical or otherwise. Take one end of it quietly, asking nothing back. Wishing you a calm and steady day ahead. Pisces, today rewards the quiet craft you put into ordinary tasks, and there is real joy hiding inside the routine. Yesterday, the moon settled into your fifth house of creativity, romance, and play, so the day likely carried a softer, more imaginative feeling than usual. Now, the sun, Mercury, and Jupiter gather in Leo in your sixth house of work, service, and daily health, which favors steady, unglamorous progress. Pick the one task you have been circling and finish it. Ruled by Jupiter, you are someone whom compassion moves first and whose imagination reaches where analysis cannot. That is not decoration. Pisces, it is your working method today. In relationships, the moon rests in Cancer in her own sign, strong and at home, which supports warmth spoken plainly rather than hinted at. Say the affectionate thing out loud to someone close. For energy, let that fifth house lightness balance the sixth house diligence. Build in one genuinely playful break, a sketch, a song, 10 minutes of nothing useful. The promised joy inside routine arrives exactly there. Before the day closes, call or visit someone who has been alone lately and simply stay a while, expecting nothing back. Let today be simple. That is enough. May today move at a pace that suits you, and may the hours ahead hold work that feels meaningful, conversations that feel honest, and rest that actually restores you. Whatever your sign carried today, take it gently, one step at a time, and let the small choices matter more than the perfect ones. If a moment opens where you can ease someone else's load, offer it freely and ask nothing back. That quiet steadiness is what carries a day well, long after the sky has moved on. Thank you for spending part of your morning here. If today's sky was useful, subscribing keeps it coming every morning.